are here. I don't know what happened with the intro. It didn't work real good, but we're live. Chris got in here first. Hey, Paul, thanks. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good right now. I'm hanging in there as best that I can. Going from there, but we're here and we're going. So, as you were saying about Dumagetti when we broke off,
Okay, I guess I should set it up for the people who are watching now. I just
yeah,
got back from Dumaguete, Philippines, and I suspect that many of the people that would be watching this live stream are familiar with the YouTube channels that come out of Dumaguete. Old Dog New Tricks, Mark Thornton's Every Man Has a Story. Justin, I forget his last name, but he's a great big scuba diver that's on a weight loss thing, um, and a handful of others. There's a lot of very, very popular YouTubers there, and that's part of the reason I wanted to visit Dumaguete. And I enjoyed myself there, but I would never want to live there, not in 100 years. And one of the things I was just describing to Bill is I have a limited diet. I had a gout outbreak, so I had to eat vegetarian, and it's hard to find, certain meals. Well, in this one coffee shop that's very well run, it's where all of these YouTubers hang out. It's called Ground Zero. It's a nice place. I mean, it is well run and the staff is well trained. And you can go there at any given time of the day and meet up with these YouTube guys and others. So there's a lot of people coming and going like me, and some people that are moving there, and it's kind of a congenial atmosphere. So I did enjoy that. But I've been in the Philippines before, and I reached the same conclusion quickly 8 years ago when I was there. It's like, getting consumer goods is tricky. I had
mm,
found something on the menu that was good for me. It was they had these dishes with meat or fish in them that I just told them to remove that, and I had the vegetables and the rice, and I had that twice, and I was there over the course of 8 days, and I went back a third time and didn't have it anymore. Oh, sorry, we don't have. Sorry, we don't have that. What do you mean?
oh,
They don't have. They didn't have that whole section of the menu. It was not available because of supplies, and that's an issue in the
mm,
Philippines. It's a big issue. It's a country of islands. There's no international train routes bringing goods in. Uh, it's the bureaucratic ineptitude in the Philippines it makes Thailand look efficient.
hmm
I mean, really,
yeah,
it's like it's just. I had to change a flight. I had a flight coming back here to Bangkok on the 14th, and I purposely bought a flight that was transferable that I could change when I purchased it because I wasn't 100% sure of when I wanted to leave. Well, getting that done took over 2 hours on the phone with somebody. There were
yeah,
no options for me on the Philippine airline website. We're not talking about Joe's airline here. We're talking about the signature airline of the Philippines, and it was a business class ticket, so you should have some. Well, I finally had to get somebody on the phone, and it took over 2 hours to get it done. And I had to tell him what to do. He kept finding ways to say, "Oh, we can't do that. Sorry." He's trying to end it. He's probably overworked and just looking to move on to his next problem.
yeah,
But I was like, well, wait a minute here. I says, the problem was I was flying from Dumaguete to Manila and Manila to Bangkok, and the transfer was only good for the Manila to Bangkok one. And he says,
hmm
well, we can't apply this transfer to the Dumaguete. I says, okay, apply it to the Manila to Bangkok and sell me a new ticket, you dimwit. I left the dimwit part out, but that was in
yeah,
my head.
yeah,
Oh yeah, I could do that. So of course you could do it, you dimwit. Again, I didn't actually say that, but that is so typical of everything that you encounter there.
really,
And also, when I just walked a little bit out of town one day, I said, let me take a walk, right? So instead of going out my hotel, I stayed in the Bricks Hotel, which is okay. I mean, it's a
mm,
decent place. So I go out of a hotel and I make a right, and you go down into the promenade area where the bars and
hmm
the places are, and it's not that impressive. This time I went left and I went into the barangay, which is Philippine for neighborhood, right?
yeah,
And it's like it was scary. I mean,
really,
the pollution is horrendous. I mean, the river looked like this little stream running was clearly nothing but it was raw sewage, and
hmm
um, it was grim, like really really
yeah,
grim. And I don't see places. I've been in the worst neighborhoods here in Bangkok, and they're not that bad. You know,
yeah,
it's uh, it's just there's a level of poverty there that's crushing, and you have to live around that if you're deciding to live there. There's
yeah,
beggars everywhere. I mean, it's like the little kid a little girl who couldn't have been more than 8 or 9 years old. She was there every day, and she'd walk right up to you and rub against your leg. She was probably looking to pickpocket you,
Yeah.
and so that kind of thing is present all the time, which is annoying. And the it's like, and I think, and if you go in there for the girls, I think Thai women are better looking, frankly.
Two things I noticed when I went to the Philippines
Because of their
was,
crap diet, they all get fat by 30. They all have a muffin top by 30.
Oh, that's funny.
That'll get me in trouble. Maybe somebody else should talk.
the two things I noticed when I was in the Philippines though was stores have armed guards in front of them with like shotguns.
Yes.
And then
Kidding me.
and then it's like, you're talking about the poverty, but it's like you have like a really nice hotel and surrounding it are all these squalors. All these little metal tin shed houses. Just unbelievable, the poverty over there.
What's funny is there weren't any shotguns in Dumaguete, but I've seen them in Manila. You'll have, and the guards holding them look like they're 19 years old.
Sounds like Mexico.
With a shotgun. But we did have a guard. There are guards, by the bank. The Bricks Hotel where I was had a guard. He would open the door for you and everything. And he was armed. He had a pistol on his hip. Well, I became friends with a guy, another guy named Bill, actually. Oh, no, I'm sorry, it's Mike. Jersey Mike, we call him. And he was a retired New Jersey state trooper, so he was a cop himself, right? So he strikes up a conversation with the kid about the gun. And the kid, starts showing him the gun. It's broken. Had no bullets in it. The barrel, it was a revolver, and the barrel didn't spin. And it's for show. I was like, that's dangerous. I mean, if you encounter an armed bad guy, what are you going to do? Throw it at him?
Yeah.
So, it's just it's a strange place, the Philippines. I wouldn't want to live there.
There's one that says, I'm confused. People are saying the crowds are back, but the Minister of Tourism says they're down 50%. Yeah, I mean, the crowds are back, but they're nowhere near what they were before COVID. I mean, it's, people are returning to Chiang Mai and Bangkok and the others, but it's nothing. It's probably less. It's probably more like they're down about 75%. 50% is giving them a good shot. But I'd say it's more like probably they're down about 75%. From what we're seeing up there, it just.
But it's better than last year.
A lot better than last year and a lot better than the year before.
Yeah. I mean, at least you're seeing tour buses now.
Yeah.
And vans.
Yeah. And I did see in my Mubon today a car from China. My first one that I've seen so far. It's got the little number on the side, because they're all when they had their caravans, they all put numbers on their cars. So I did see some a Chinese car come in my Mubon today. So they've driven from China, so they're coming. But I think it'll come back. I think it's going to be a long haul. It's still going to be, I'd say, another 5 to 10 years before they ever see what they had before COVID hit. Number one, you're going to have a lot of businesses that are going to try to come back, and that's going to take some time too. So that's what we're seeing. Well, what are you seeing down there, Charlie? Are you seeing things back to anything close to normal, or?
It's I've been gone for 7 weeks, and I've just been back in the house for 2 days now, so I can't really comment about Bangkok. But I can talk to you about New York City, which is my hometown, and I spent a month there. And I was in Times Square, and I was impressed with how many people were there. I mean, there were loads of tourists in Times Square, and it's like I had taken my daughter and a family, my twin grandkids to a play to go see a Disney show, the Aladdin. And we had a fun evening, and then I left my phone in the theater, so I had to go back the next day. I dropped it.
Yeah, you told me about that. That was funny.
And they were good about it. They found it and hung on to it for me. So but I went back, and that put me in Times Square like at 10 o'clock in the morning. And I was wandering around. It was jammed. There's people taking shots all over the place, and I got a few good videos out of it. And I was like, it looks like New York City is back. Then I went up to the Upper West Side, which is a more residential neighborhood, to visit a friend. I had dinner with a friend that same night. For those of you who don't know New York, that's the neighborhood where Seinfeld shot his show, that area. And I went up there, and it was empty. It was like really empty. And when I met with my friend Tom and we had dinner, he says, "Yeah," he goes, "a lot of the people, it's a wealthy, kind of wealthy area, so a lot of the people that lived there had other homes, and they moved out to their Long Island homes or whatever. A lot of
Yeah.
people vacated the neighborhood during COVID. I remember
Yeah.
New York was like one of the worst cities,
Mhm.
you know, in the world with that, and
Mhm.
many of them haven't come back yet. So the Upper West Side of New York, if it was any indication, is it, you know, it has a long recovery ahead of it as well.
Mm.
Another reason I think that the tourism numbers are down right now, Bill, is because this is burning season.
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
And I think people just they know before they come here. Okay, we don't go at this time because
Mhm.
of all the smog.
Yeah, and we've got it now.
Yeah,
Oh,
we do.
We
big
got it.
time.
We got it real bad. I took my drone up today. I've had my drone kind of in mothballs for months here, and I took it up today and flew it a little bit and took some pictures, and you couldn't see the mountains.
Yeah, I saw you
They're
standing in
gone.
that one photo,
Yeah,
and it
well,
was
yeah,
just
I did
steeply
it.
behind you.
Yeah, I did the short and with the bush behind me. You couldn't even see it, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's just it's the way it is. Unfortunately, we hope it'll be gone soon.
Hmm.
Uh, I don't think it'll be gone next month, but I think you're probably looking
No.
probably April or May. It'll start to get the air will start to clear a little bit. I hope anyway. But,
And then I saw something today as a report that the National Weather Service is predicting that this year, come March, April, it's going to be the highs are going to be like in the 40 to 43 range
yeah, we
Celsius.
won't get any rain either. Oh, it's going to be miserable.
Miserable.
But I can go out now and rinse off my car, and I can come back out an hour later, and there's a big layer of
Hmm.
dust on it.
Hmm.
And but, I exercised today. I rode my bicycle this morning, and I rode it this afternoon, and I wore a mask both times. I wasn't taking any chances. Let's see, Hugh has the movie called Megan Comes to Thailand. I don't know. The movie called Megan. I don't know. I don't know if it has or not. I
Yeah, you can get it on the internet through.
Netflix.
Well, I don't know what's Netflix, but yeah, I've seen it. It's the automated doll that goes around terrorizing people or whatever.
Oh God, I'll let my wife watch
Yeah,
that.
I
That's
haven't. I don't know if it's at the movie theater yet, but people have a way of getting it here.
yeah. That's funny. Crazy stuff going on.
There's a
But
Japanese expo at Central World this weekend. I'm going to stop in on it.
really,
Oh,
that
Yeah,
ought to be interesting.
might be
yeah.
able to get a short or two out of that one. It's funny. I asked the kids, my girlfriend's teenage daughters, if they wanted to go, thinking they'd be interested in it. No,
Hmm.
yeah, they want. They're interested in Koreans. I was like, can we go to
Yeah,
Korea?
Mm.
Yeah,
that's my wife is telling me. Yeah,
yeah.
my wife.
Japan was the flavor of the month last year.
Yeah,
This year, it's Korean.
yeah.
Well,
My wife
Blackpink
is.
has gone a long way in making
Yeah,
them the Koreans popular. Especially
Mm.
with teenage girls, they all love Blackpink.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they put out
yeah,
some good movies. I've been watching some Korean series on TVs that are just unbelievably good.
yeah. I've seen some too. There was one that I watched, Attorney Woo, and I
Hmm.
really really liked that. It was cute, and
Did it have subtitles or?
yeah, had
Yeah.
subtitles. And then
Go.
there's an American program called Kim's Restaurant, Kim's something or other, and it's based on a Korean family that moved to the United States. It was
Oh.
really interesting. It was pretty good.
Go find The Maid. It's a
The
The
Korean
Maid.
drama, and it's a great film. And just Google it. It's very popular. And I'm
the
sure
Really?
maid,
The
the
Maid.
maid.
Like like a hotel maid, but it's
Huh. Okay.
so yeah, that's I saw that years ago, and I said, wow, this is really really good. It was like
Yeah.
with a crazy twist ending, and apparently that's a whole genre
Hmm.
Korean
Yeah.
stuff like that. But,
Somebody's asking, do any of you think that these air purifiers are good for 15,000 baht? The jury is out for me.
I do.
Yeah, I've got three of them, but I didn't pay 15,000 for them.
No.
I have Hitachis, and they were, I think it's Hitachi 1201 or something like that, and I got it from, I think it was Power Buy, and they're only like 4,000 baht. But the filters are like 800 baht, and you have to replace them about every 6 months. But
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. I think they work for sure.
it's a Hitari. I'm sorry, it's a Hitari 1201 model, and they're like you can get them. I'm pretty sure mine was like 4,000 baht. It wasn't much, and I run three of those 24 hours a day. And yeah, they do help. They'll cut the particles out in the house.
You know, we have 4 Xiaomi's in our house, and it's funny because it's good air on it, but then as soon as you open the door to outside, you leave your front door open for like 5 minutes, that air purifier is just spinning, boy. It's like up to the 80s.
Yeah, we
So,
keep
yeah,
ours
they
going
work.
all the time. And another
Yeah.
thing that I do is on my air conditioners is I wrap my air conditioner filters with 3M filter paper
Mm.
and put them up, and that helps quite a bit too. So glad to say that is my niece. Okay, Megan is your niece. Okay, Korean shows have real soul. Sit on the corner. That's funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's
that's bad.
I think Charlie got it.
I've missed it. That one went
Yeah.
over my head. Green shows have real soul. Oh yeah,
Soul.
yeah.
That's my
Okay,
kind
yeah,
of sense of humor.
yeah.
You know, a little bit of a comment that nobody else gets.
Mm.
All kind of off humor, but oh, do air purifiers remove humidity? I don't
No,
know. That I can't answer yet. I know they get
I
the
don't.
dust
I
out
don't.
of
I
the
don't think
air.
they do. You need a dehumidifier for that.
Yeah, but
You
I
Yeah,
have to
know.
buy those
dehumidifier
here.
is a very specific item.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when I pull my filters down, there's a lot of black soot on there, so it's definitely getting some of it. I don't think it gets it all. One of the things that I found here in my house that I have to really be careful of is my vents in my bathroom suck the air out through the roof, so it comes in through the window. My bathroom windows are vented,
Mhm.
and so I have to put filter paper on my windows. Otherwise, it just sucks in the particles. Because we couldn't figure out how come we're getting so much dust in. And then I looked at it, and that's what it is. So eventually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the ones taken out of the ceiling, and then I'm going to put them in the wall. So instead of sucking the air up through the roof, it'll be
Mm.
sucking the air out the wall, like I had in my other house. It worked out real well.
Yeah, that's where mine are. We took out the little bathroom window and just
Hmm.
put in one of those vents that come on automatically when you turn on the light.
Yeah, that's how mine works now. But mine
Mm.
sucks in from the outside, and I can tell the difference
Hmm.
in the air quality. So that's something later on down the road when I've got a little bit of time to think about something. I'll have that done.
Back on
But
that dehumidifier thing. My father lives on the Gulf Coast down in Gulf Shores, Alabama, and there's a lot of humidity there, and he has a dehumidifier. He'll turn it on, and probably 4 or 5 hours later, that thing will be full of water.
yeah,
Because
Right.
all the moisture in the air, which is not a bad idea for here because it is quite humid here to get a
mm,
dehumidifier. But I just don't.
no, I don't have one either.
I used to use dehumidifiers in my hot yoga studio, and you can get very effective dehumidifiers. That's not an issue. They make them. They're separate from air filters. It's not that,
Mm.
I don't know of any
Mm.
combination. So, but yeah, you can find dehumidifiers. They've been making them for years, and they're quite effective. If you seal the room, if you close all the doors and stuff, you can bring the humidity down.
Right, right. Hmm.
Hmm. I've never had one in any of the houses I've ever owned. I've never had a humidifier.
Well, we used to heat my yoga room up to 40 degrees or 104 degrees Fahrenheit. So if the humidity was like over 40%, people would pass out. So we would have to bring the humidity down. That's it.
When I was in China, I lived on the 24th floor of the building, and you could not believe how much carbon from the nearby coal. I bet. I bet you got it everywhere. You know, what we're getting here is dust.
Mhm.
And I keep, dust. I think it's dust and smoke is basically what it is. From them burning the rice. Well, they're not burning rice fields around here, but I think probably on the other side of the mountains they are. And then this stuff just comes right over the top of the mountain and kind of
Comes
lays.
from Malaysia, not Malaysia. Comes
Yeah,
from Myanmar and
yeah. Well,
all those places.
Greeny made a short video a couple days ago, and he had the same thing down in Pattaya.
Mm.
The air is just miserable.
You know, the problem with Chiang Mai is it sits in a bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So it's surrounded by mountains. And it's if you've ever been to Denver, Colorado, it's the same way. The fog or the smog comes in over this bowl and it just sits on top of the
Mm-hmm.
city, just
Yeah.
like Denver does with the Rocky Mountains.
Right.
The smog just sits there and it doesn't move. So that's a problem, until you've got some good winds coming along. I mean, it's just the same old smog up there.
Yeah. Well, you can
Yep.
see them when they do burn something here. The smoke just kind of comes up and then it just levels off and it just
Mhm.
lays there.
Mhm.
And it's hard to see from the ground, but when you have a drone and you lift the drone up and you're watching from a drone, you can see exactly what it's doing, and you can tell why it stays here. There's nothing dragging it out. So
And we're encircled the whole way by mountains.
yeah,
So it's like it comes over the mountains and it just stays.
yeah, that's exactly what we
One
got.
of the things I noticed on the 7-week trip that I just completed,
Mhm.
one leg of the trip was I took a train ride from Chicago to San Francisco. And you pull into Denver, it's one of the stops, and then you chug up into the Rocky Mountains. And I saw what you were just talking about. And this is in January. I mean, this is,
Mhm.
in the middle of the wintertime. And there was a very
Mm.
distinct layer of smog that sits on
Yeah.
top of Denver. It's quite
Always sits
visible
there.
up in the mountains, and you start to get out of it. It's like, it's kind of creepy. But here's the thing with the burning here. The burning, as to where it comes from the west coast of India to the eastern end of Indonesia, which takes in about 4 billion people in between those 2 points. As soon as the monsoon rains stop, they start setting fire to anything that they don't want. They call it crop burning, and that is indeed
Mhm.
part of it. They burn the crop stubble to clear the land for the next farming season. But in addition to that, anything that they don't want goes into the trash heap and set on fire as well. And
Yeah.
that's
That's
an
usually what you
environmental
smell.
issue that takes up a third of the globe, where for
Yeah.
3 or 4 months a year they just set shit on fire for
Yeah.
4 months. And that's why when I hear like some of these really serious environmentalist types that are running after plastic straws and stuff, until somebody starts pointing their finger at the problem that I just mentioned, that I'm not going to take them seriously.
Right.
I mean, we do have to manage the environment. Everything humans do has an effect on the environment. So managing it is important. But if you want to make me believe that you're serious about managing the environment, address that issue. Because here's the thing: it's an issue with a solution. It would be money and training for farmers, and it's just, you would have to put in place the infrastructure necessary to replace what it is that they're doing now.
Yeah.
And so there is a long-term solution, not an overnight solution, but nothing's been done. I've been in Asia 12 years now, and it's the same thing every year. It's like, oh, we're gonna take care of that, and nobody does anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is around my village. They burn all the trash, including plastic, and you smell it in the air. There's no trash collection. Well, we have trash collection here, but they still burn it. So they don't care. They just don't care. I mean, they'll throw tires in there, anything.
Well, that's a problem with a solution, though. That would take government, a strong-willed government that's willing to train people and get that message out. I mean, it's like, there are plenty of things that people have been doing for generations that are thought of as traditional that, that smart
Need to change,
management
yeah.
has changed. It's like
Yeah.
if they wanted to, they could do it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right about asthma. My wife has asthma, and she has a real fit with it here. And it ain't bad. You can see on the walls the black color.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. You definitely, you go out and look at your car, and you know what it is. When I was in Vietnam in the north, they used to burn plastic in front of their houses. Oh yeah. Well, they do that here too. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is. Whatever they want to burn, they'll burn.
I think what Philip was talking about, there's a Vietnamese ritual of some sort.
Oh,
Having to
really?
do with good luck or something. Yeah, they go out and burn stuff in front of the house. Maybe that's
Huh.
what he's talking about.
Don't they burn like fake money too or something over
Yeah,
there?
yeah. It has something to do with money. I forget the
Yeah.
details. Yeah, that's it.
Hi guys, I love the seawater. Are there places to swim in Chiang Mai? Great channel. Yeah, well, we got
Swimming pools.
a saltwater swimming pool in my Bhuban if you want.
Yeah.
Just go to Bill's house.
Yeah. Now there's a couple of
Lakes.
lakes here where you can swim.
What's that one out there on Canal Road at the very end?
Canal Road.
At the very end, going towards May Rim.
Oh, you're talking about Hoi Ken Cow or something like that. I can never pronounce.
They got like a little beach on it, on that lake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's no, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about in May Rim up on it's called Pink something or other.
Mm.
I did a video up there. Yeah, there's no place to swim though. It's just made like a beach.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Well, then you got the Grand Canyon too, which is kind of like
well, you can swim
like a
there
resort, but it's shaped like a beach.
Well, I went out there the other day, and there's hardly anybody there.
Really?
They didn't have hardly any customers, and
yeah, but it's been really cold in the mornings here. I mean, it's I've been wearing jackets in the morning. It don't get hot until like about 1 or 2.
Yeah. I'm not gonna go swimming. I have to have my hot water.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are plenty of places to swim. Most of the communities now. My community here has almost an Olympic-sized swimming pool that I can swim at for $40, or I can buy a membership to it. It's a really, really nice pool. It's covered too. But most of the Lubans have swimming pools if you enjoy swimming. I know yours does, Spencer.
Yeah, it does. It does. I think it's like 50 baht or something to swim there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you want the sea, as the
you have to go to the ocean.
About a 90-minute plane ride will take you to some of the most beautiful beaches in Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
Down in the Andaman Sea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's. That's the thing that I like living. About living here. You can jump on a plane. You can be someplace else, and it's like Bangkok. You're there 60 minutes. Krabi, maybe 90 minutes, or Phuket, or whatever. But that's the good part.
I was down in southern Thailand, down near the Malaysian border with Buakam, my girlfriend, and her sister. There was a special wat that they wanted to go to there. I called it the chicken wat. There was a lot of chicken statues, and we didn't buy a return ticket. We flew. Her sister handled it. She bought the ticket online, and using her phone, and off we went the next day. And when we got there, when we finished doing everything that we were about to do, we just went to the airport and went up to a counter and looked at the 3 different airline counters that were selling tickets and bought the one that was leaving next. And it took 5 minutes. So I have that in my head when I'm in the Philippines last week. I flew into Manila, and I figured I'll just go to a counter and buy a flight to Dumaguete once I clear immigration and all that.
Didn't work that way.
2 hours. You had to go to a special building, wait online. It's like, ooh, really? So that's another list of my things not to like about the Philippines. I mean, just to take it's a country full of like 1,000 islands. I forget exactly how many, but there's a lot of islands, right? And there's only 2 ways to get there: boat or airplane. You know, they think they would have cleaned that up a little bit, but it's not. It's just, you know, a mountain of bureaucratic ineptitude, basically, and took hours to you know. And this was before dawn. We're not talking like the middle of the day when it's really crowded. You know, I was surprised it was about 7 o'clock when I got there, and there were 2 agents on duty in this Philippine airline office. But I still had to wait 20 minutes to get one. And the reason is because once you sit down in front of them, they take forever to do the simplest of chores. You know,
Yeah,
just drove me crazy. Flying back out of Dumaguete back to Manila, their computer was down. They were checking people off on a printout. You know, you showed them your thing, and they looked you up on the printout and checked you off and hand wrote your ticket. I was like, yeah, this is a. Go ahead, call Thailand a third world country again. Let me hear you say that.
Now, did you have any problems getting in the country when you got there?
No, not at all. But I had all the papers. The young girl who was the immigration officer, and she did ask to see my vaccination record, which I showed her. Oh, you know what it is? There's a QR code that you're supposed to have, and I didn't know that. You know, so I get to the immigration person, and they're like, "Well, you have your vaccination certificate." So that's what it is. The QR code. You go online and you fill this thing out, and I guess you scan it or scan. I don't know how you do, because what happened is after I cleared immigration, some clerk with a blue shirt, the big smiley thing around her neck, and she's like, "Oh, come here," and she just did it for me on the spot. You know, she filled out all of this information looking at my vaccination record, got a QR code, and then had me take a picture of the QR code so I would have it. Of course, I didn't need it. I didn't need it anymore because I'd already cleared immigration. But hey, you know, they were in place to make that happen if you needed it.
Did you need that coming into Thailand too, or no?
No, as a matter of fact, announcement here for those of you who fly in and out of Thailand, there's no more arrival card.
Right.
Yeah, you know, they didn't hand it out on the airplane, and I just shrugged that off as more, you know, Philippine air ineptitude. I figured I'll just get one when I land and fill it out. And no more arrival card, which is like, oh, okay.
So nobody asked to see vaccinations or anything when you got here.
No, well, I have a long-term visa. I have an annual visa plus the reentry thing. So I just handed that to them. It's pretty modern. They have metrics now. What do they call that? Facial recognition metrics.
Biometrics,
yeah. And you look at it, they take your picture, and another cute immigration girl. And I was through immigration before my bags were. So it's like no problem at all. Of course, it was like 10 o'clock on a weeknight, so that helps. 10 o'clock in the evening.
Says Dennis at Chiang Mai Ram asked my daughter, did a lot of swimming, which she does. The enamel on her teeth was so thin, so found a saltwater pool. No, I get probably the chlorine is eating her teeth out. But there are quite a few saltwater pools around, and there's one in my Bhuban here that you could use, and it's Dia Valley, and I think they let people from outside come in. But that's about the only one I know of. TM cards, 6 cards has been suspended until end of March. Yeah. Well,
I've still got talking about.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
go ahead.
I'll be curious to see when I get to immigration to renew my visa, if they're looking for that, because very often one branch doesn't tell the other what's going on.
No.
We'll see.
Well, I just got I went the 23rd because my passport was going to expire in October. So I went to the consulate up here to get my passport, and I just got it yesterday. I went the 23rd, and it took about, what's that, like 8 days, and just got it in the mail. So,
well, I think that, an indication of maybe less travel globally than they used to be is, I went in and out of a lot of ports, and it was all very efficient. Getting into the United States, getting into the Philippines, getting into Thailand, all went very smoothly and quickly with no hitches whatsoever. And
Yeah.
it took minutes, mere minutes. So,
Mm.
you know, I guess that's a reflection of not many people being there.
Yeah.
That would be my guess.
I would think so.
Now, Spencer, when you got your passport by mail, how long did it take?
About 10 days.
Yeah.
But I got that. I also got, I don't know why, I elected to get that passport card, which is good for Mexico and what is it, the Virgin Islands or whatever. But it actually came in helpful when I was back in the States this time, because when I went to get a new driver's license,
Mhm.
they asked to see my passport. And I'm like, well, I don't have it on me because I don't
Yeah.
carry it around in the U.S. with me. But I did happen to have that passport card, and she took that as proof. So that was helpful.
I saw that little sticker where I could have
Mm.
got one of those. I didn't fool with it. TM6
Yeah.
still being used at land borders. That's interesting. Huh. Has the 45 days still working. Q.
I think they're asking about the 40-day visa. on
Visa,
arrival.
yeah. Yeah, they're still.
I don't
still
know. I
good.
have a long-term visa.
I think
so
I think they are giving them. So I haven't heard anything different. But I don't know. They change so much that you never know. Is the 45 days on arrival and Novak still? As far as I know, it is. I haven't heard anything different. You know, they had made a bunch of crazy stipulations, and then they backed off of all of it. So, as far as I know, you're still good to go.
Yeah, that happened before I left. I think the way they came in for a landing was people coming in from China have to show a vaccination record.
Yeah, that may be the
India.
only ones. India and
India.
China, I think, are the only
India,
ones.
yeah.
But
Yeah, nobody asked me for it coming in here. They did ask for it in the Philippines, though.
well, hopefully,
As a
it's,
matter of fact, now that I think of it, boarding in LA, they wanted to see it as well. Yeah, boarding in LA, the Philippine air clerk wanted to see that.
I think it's going to
Talking
become
about
kind of standard here in the future.
Yeah.
They're going to want to see vaccination cards.
Well, I've got mine. It may be the only one I get, but I don't think I'm going to go for number 4, unless it just seems like something that really needs to be done.
It seems to be dying down, but I don't. I'm not a doctor. It just appears to be dying down.
When I left for the Philippines, when I left for the United States, when I landed in New York, apparently everybody in the household here got COVID.
Wow.
I have my girlfriend, her sisters are here, come and go all the time, and she has 4 children. I mean, they're young, 2 of them are young adults now, but her son, her 2 daughters, and a cousin who she raises as a daughter as well, and all of them got it. Like, I ran through the house, and they all had COVID at the same time. But the kids, the young people, lasted 2 days and they were fine. And Bull Cow had a cough for about 2 weeks, but it wasn't nothing serious. But it did rip through the house, and they got it. It was an infant that brought it in. It's like, her sister has an infant. The infant came in coughing. Everybody loves the infant, and they're all passing the baby around.
Yeah, the kids giving it to everybody.
Next day, everybody's got COVID,
new addition to the household.
It wasn't that serious, so that's good news.
Oh no, you got a dachshund? You got to be kidding me! Oh, you gotta send me a picture, man. Is it a miniature dachshund or a full blown, a full grown? That's crazy.
I love Bill's dog lover. His inner dog lover. He walks around these streets in Chiang Mai, and you got these nasty, vicious-looking dogs on the fence, and he's like, "Oh, hello there, you super pretty dog."
And stuff.
I've been running my ass off from that thing.
Yeah. Well, he's been bit a couple times too, though.
Oh yeah, I've had rabies shots about 3 or 4 times so far, but
Jesus,
those were those weren't the kind of really. I wasn't really expecting it. I had one dog get me into 7-Eleven one time, just broke through my boot. Um, and then I did get attacked on my bicycle by two dogs that had broke a chain. And full grown, but eyes to die for. Called her Abby. Well, I had a miniature called Prissy, and I had her for 14 years. She died in 2017. I brought her over from the U.S. and Lek won't let me get another dog right now, but eventually I'll have another one. Um, when I stop traveling or when I finally decide to settle down, there'll be a dog in the house. But, you know, I I can't do it right now. I just got to make sure everything's all kind of lined up right. You know, because my other dog, I'd put her in the kennel for, if we went somewhere, she'd go in the kennel for 8 weeks or 8 days or whatever. And I just felt real bad about it. So until I stop traveling, I won't have another dog. I'll admire everybody else's dogs. She's going to be a lot of fun, though. You'll have fun with that dog. Is that your first dachshund? Or
I saw they're having a pet show here starting today to the 5th over at Central Airport Mall.
Oh yeah, I used to go to those things. I used to love to go to those things.
Yeah. It's funny because you go to those things and it's predominantly pit bull stuff.
I know.
And they have those pulling events where they have the pit bulls pulling like lead, sleighs or whatever. But yeah, they're kind of cool to go to.
Yeah, I saw a video of one that happened where a pit bull got a hold of a golden retriever and was just mauling the heck out of it. It was at one of those things. I blew it. Then I'm leaving for Hawaii. I had some medicine with me. The guy, boy, I was in trouble. That's funny. That's crazy. Yeah, it's airport and the guy in the beginning put you in jail. Yeah, you got to be careful. Oh, so tell us about your train ride, Charlie. I was watching that video and I thought Charlie's really having a great time.
Yeah, well, there were good aspects to it. It wasn't a total disaster, but for the viewers, I took a ride from Chicago to Emeryville, California, which is a suburb of San Francisco, and it's a 3-day ride, 2 nights on Amtrak's California Zephyr, which is their signature route, and it's because it goes to the Rocky Mountains. And I thought, oh, what a fun thing to do in the wintertime, right? I needed to get to the West Coast anyway, and I had plenty of time. So, I signed myself up to do that. And part of my influence was a guy named Jeb Brooks, a YouTuber who's like, had over 1 million views on his review of the California Zephyr, and he loved it. I mean, after watching that video, it's like, even if you don't like trains, you'd want to go try it. He just loved the bejesus out of it. Well, it turns out Jeb is a train buff. And one of the attendants, they all know who he is because it was such a popular video and it's been good promotion for Amtrak. Which, by the way, just to make a long story short, is I thought it sucked. I mean, it was like I had 1 million different problems, death by 1,000 cuts, we'll call it. But I was talking to one of the car attendants, who was a nice guy, and I told him about Jeb Brooks, and he goes, we're not supposed to call them this, but he goes, well, we, meaning the employees, call Jeb and others like him, are foamers. And I was like, foamer? What's a foamer? He goes, they foam at the mouth when they see a train. They just love trains. They're these kind of train-loving people, and they can see no wrong. I give you a quick review. The train left. It was an hour delayed pulling out of Chicago for mechanical issues. Riding across the Great Plains that night, it was rocking back and forth and slamming up against whatever limits it had, which didn't feel dangerous. But every time it did it with a thud and a bang, and it would wake you up. So I got a very poor night's sleep. Train travels a little over 70 miles an hour. Then we rolled into Denver. Denver was beautiful. Got to see the sunrise coming up over Denver. You stop in Denver for a little while and then chug up into the mountains. And that was a very nice part of the trip. So we get up to the first stop, cold something, I don't know, the first stop into the Rocky Mountains, Coldwater Park or something, there's a ski resort up there. And an attendant comes into the observation car and asks everybody to leave because there's not enough seats in the observation car to accommodate all the people on the train at the same time. So, you know, they ask you to leave so more people can come in and get to use the observation car through the Rockies. And, you know, my reaction was, what the fuck, Amtrak? You promote this as a sightseeing adventure. You couldn't put on another observation car or two. I mean, it's a train. You know, that's what they do. They put more cars on. You know, it's like, how hard would that be to do to accommodate, you know, what you're promoting this for? I got all the shots I wanted, and they should clean the windows too. There's another little thing. By this time in the trip, I had my gout had blown up. I get gout, and I have to be careful of what I eat. And I had a limited menu of processed foods that triggered my gout. And I thought that there were going to be more choices available. They did have healthy choices, vegan and vegetarian. They were processed with salty sauces and all this other stuff that triggers gout. So I got, you know, so I'm limping. I could barely walk. My ankle swelled up, and it was a difficult time walking. I get back to my room in the coach that I'm traveling in, and the toilets are broken. So I had to get up, go up a flight of stairs, a long corridor in the rocking train to the next car, and then down the stairs again to find a toilet that worked. They had those suction type of toilets that you see on an airplane, those vacuum toilets, and I don't know, the ones on my car broke. They didn't work. Oh, no problem. Just go to the next car. Well, it is a problem if you have gout and you're 73 and you have to get up three or four times in the night to go pee. It's more than just an inconvenience. It's a freaking problem, right? Then we had delays. I was 11 hours late getting into Emeryville, and because of the weather. It was snowing in the Sierra Nevada mountains, which is the most important part of the trip for sightseeing. Sierra Nevada mountains goes through Donna Pass. Well, they held us for 3 hours in Reno. I almost got off the train in Reno, but as I was preparing to do that, the attendant says, look, we're going to move. We're going to be moving. We've been sitting there for 3 hours. I was going to get off in Reno, stay the night in Reno, and then just fly to LA, which is where I was headed anyway. Mm-hmm. So I stayed on the train, which was a mistake because we pulled out of Reno and then sat for another 2 goddamn hours in the middle of nowhere. By the time we went through the Sierra Nevada mountains, it was 10 o'clock at night and you couldn't see a thing. So I never got to see Donner Pass in the wintertime, which was kind of the goal of the trip. I wanted to make a short video of passing through Donner Pass and make a joke about eating vegetarian. You know, anybody that knows Donner Pass will get that.
Donner Pass, yeah. No meat on that one, huh?
Right. I never got to do my short, you know. It was like, and then it was, you know, I got into Emeryville, California at 3 o'clock in the morning. Luckily, my Airbnb lady was flexible enough to set it up for me to go there. And I had to walk, you know, now walking, you know, a little less than a mile from the train station isn't a big problem. That's why I picked that Airbnb. It was in walking distance from the train station, unless you have a gout outbreak, and then it's a real difficult pain in the ass. So yeah, I you know, I wrote to Amtrak demanding a refund. I doubt that I'll get it. They've offered me a $350 voucher, which means to use the voucher, I'd have to get back on one of the stupid trains, which I'm never going to do again. So yeah, you know, if you watch Jeb's Brooks' video about this wonderful trip on the California Zephyr,
I watched it.
Let me offer you another perspective. Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
There's more. I left a few items out, but you know, it's like, yeah, not my favorite thing in the trip. I did get to see some nice scenery coming out of Denver. At least I got that much.
It's not like the train to Chiang Mai, Bangkok to Chiang Mai. No comparison.
I've taken that train a couple of times. I'm okay with that train. I mean, you know, it doesn't slam back and forth on the tracks and wake you up. I get a nice sleep when I take the overnight from Chiang Mai. I did get COVID on it once, but that's not their fault.
Now, didn't in your video didn't your bathroom break in your room?
Yeah, well, it wasn't in my room. There was you know the 4 toilets at the end of the hall, and a shower which didn't have hot water. Lovely. I mean, I had like tepid water.
Oh, that's terrible.
But yeah, they broke. The flushing system didn't work, so I had to go to the next car to do that. There are rooms available on Amtrak that have their own toilets, and as far as I
Yeah.
know, they still work. I didn't have that. I had a family room. The reason I got the family room is because it was cheaper than the other room. When I bought it like a year early, prior to the trip, I don't know how to price stuff. I guess it's by demand, and it was bigger, so I got that. And because I've been on Amtrak's before, and I've used the toilets and the showers, and the staff on the train is very good, so they keep them clean, and it's like I didn't mind using that, and I didn't even mind the lack of hot water because I'm used to taking cold showers, so I was able to take a shower anyway. But unless you're willing to get under a shower head that's spewing, less than hot, pretty cool water in the wintertime in the Rocky Mountains.
No, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, really,
not for that.
It's like, so yeah, it leaves a lot to be desired. What I would recommend is you fly to Denver and take a trip up to that first stop in the Rockies, and then they have a train coming back later that evening. You could spend a day trip in that town in the Rockies and come back the same day. That would probably be nice. But make sure you get there early so you get a seat in the observation car.
Yeah. Riding trains is just not the same as like Japan or the UK, where they have really high class trains and people use the trains a lot. Here or in the States, when people think of traveling, they don't really think of trains to go anywhere.
It's this particular route is promoted as a sightseeing adventure.
Yeah.
And it could very well be, if you got a good one, you do see a lot of sights, that's for sure. And if you don't have gout, I suppose the food wouldn't bother you that much. That's not their fault that I get gout. But I thought that they had a better selection of healthy foods available, and they did. It's all pre-packaged stuff like you get on airlines. It's the same kind. It's airline food basically, and so I had I better prepared myself, I could have brought my own roughage or something, I suppose. But I didn't love it. Broken toe. Oh yeah, one of the things I left out, they had these squirt bottles with hand sanitizer in them, and I'm bouncing down the hallway trying to keep my balance, and I'm touching the wall the whole time. So maybe I should sanitize my hand. I got a chemical burn from it. It was loaded with alcohol, and I got that. Within an hour, it looked like I had a sunburn on the back of my hands, and I was like, yeah, okay, this is another death by 1,000 cuts.
Oh, well, it sounds like your trip from about after you left New York just kind of went downhill.
Well, there's good parts to everything. I'm still looking back at the trip. I got to LA. When I finally got to LA, my foot was so bad I had to be wheeled through the airport in a wheelchair. Right? And they wheeled me to the van that took me to the Hilton, where I planned to stay one night.
Right.
The LAX Hilton's an expensive hotel, right? So I get to the LAX Hilton, and I'm hobbling in, and the guy by the door says, "Oh, let me get you." They got me a wheelchair in Hilton. So this guy's gonna fall down, right? So they got me to my room, and when I was there, that's where I changed all my plans. I know how this gout goes. I've had it before, and I knew that I needed to rest for a day or two, and I wound up staying 4 nights in the LA Hilton, just recuperating. And I made a couple of videos and made the best of it. They had room service there that I could order food. But I guess that's the lesson for this. If you're going to go traveling around the world, if you're an old guy that wants to go traveling around the world, make sure you have an emergency reserve fund, because that 4-day stay ordering, in the LA Hilton, ordering room service cost me over $1,000.
Yeah.
Now I had that, and I do keep an emergency fund for medical emergencies. So this is an emergency, and that's what I'll do with it. So it turned out not to be terrible. I mean, it could have been a lot worse, but. The drive from the East Coast to Chicago turned out to be the most fun part of the trip.
Yeah, that sounded like it was fun.
Yeah.
So what airlines do you guys fly to Thailand? I fly from the UK. I use Quaidar, and they flew directly from Chiang Mai to Doha. I don't know. I haven't left since 2014, so these two guys are frequent flyers. They go all the time. They could probably answer that question better than I could.
I used to fly Korean Air out of Chiang Mai because it was direct to Seoul. But the problem is they went up so much in price that I started looking at options. And now what I do is I fly down to Bangkok and I fly Japan Airlines into Japan into Dallas. And in Japan Airlines, that's my favorite airlines in the world. I mean, the service on that airline is great. I have no problem with that at all. And it's a lot cheaper than Korean Air.
It's funny. I've flown Korean Air for years, and because I go to New York twice a year, and I've been happy with them. But recently, I took Qatar. I was happy with Qatar. I think they did a good job on my last trip. And on this trip, flying from Bangkok to New York, I took Emirates, and Emirates wins. They were really good. Yeah. I was impressed with Emirates. It was not to say that Qatar or Korean are bad. They're not, and I hear Japan Airlines is pretty good as well. But I will fly Emirates again. I think they did an excellent job.
Yeah, I noticed the other day.
Oh, I got a story about the drunk guy in Emirates. I'm flying business class, so they got the big double-decker, 8380 aircraft, right? And they have a lounge in them. It's a bar, right? And of course, they're showing this is the World Cup was playing, so they're showing World Cup stuff. So I'm sitting there talking to some Brit guy who was in Bangkok on business. He had a terrible time. I don't know. I felt bad for the guy. He was like in his late 60s. He's still working. They sent him to Bangkok. He didn't really want to go and stuck him in some hotel down near Nana Plaza. Right? And he was like not impressed with the whole Bangkok thing, right? But he was there on business. Now he's flying back, and I was just talking to him. He's an okay guy, and he's like I'm listening to him thinking, yeah, you need to retire. It's like, hope you can do that soon, right? But I'm thinking, at least they're flying him in business class. Could be worse. And with that, as he and I are sitting, talking back and forth, this swarthy Middle Eastern guy comes over, very happy, and he's like, "I want to buy you all a drink. The drinks are free, but he wants to buy you all a drink." And me and the Brit guy aren't drinking, right? Down Cokes or whatever it is that we're having, right? And the Diet Cokes. And he's one of these guys. He's an arm grabber, and the types. They've had a little bit too much, but he was pleasant. And the Brit guy had no patience for him. He just kind of moved away on the bench, and I'm engaging a little bit with the guy because, like I said, he was harmless enough, and he was just having a good old time. So finally, when I got an opportunity, I said, "Where are you from?" And he puffed up his chest. He says, "I am from Abu Dhabi." I says, "Oh," I said, "Are you Muslim?" Puffed up his chest even more, and he was, "Yes." I said, "You're not supposed to be drinking alcohol."
You got it.
And
That's
he
funny.
shrunk away, and he went back to his seat. The bartender, who was this tall French guy, right? He says to me, he goes, "Thank you for that." You're not supposed to be drinking. I said,
how was the food on the plane?
Excellent. I give 5 stars to Emirates. It's excellent, and they were very competitive. I forget the exact price, but they were better than Korean. Like you said, the price of Korean seems to have gone up dramatically. So.
Yeah.
I haven't looked in ages what the ticket prices are. I haven't paid.
I noticed the other day, though, starting either this month or next month, there's going to be 4 direct flights to Seoul and 4 direct flights to Taipei, Taiwan, to Chiang Mai.
Oh.
On different airlines.
Oh.
So you'll have I don't remember what the Korean ones are, but it's Korean Air, Jeju Air, Spring Air, and something else. Then you have Air China, EVA Air, and a couple other ones to Thai Viet Jet, and something else going to Taipei. So it'll be a lot easier to get connections out of here than having, before it was Korean Air out of Chiang Mai. It was really the only route out of here, unless you went to Bangkok, and that usually entailed spending the night for one night, But with all these direct flights now, it might be easier to get out of Taipei or Seoul using a different airlines besides Korean Air.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Things are picking up.
Yeah, I've always done like you said, and we'd fly down to Bangkok, and then I'd fly out of Bangkok to either Seoul or Japan or whatever.
I used to hate processing through immigration in Bangkok, but to be honest with you, this last time we went through there, I mean, there was nobody in line.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Plus, I'm married to a Thai anyway, so I just go to the Thai line with my wife.
Yeah. I think, when things start to get a little bit better, I think the prices of the airline tickets start dropping back down again.
Well, fuel prices are still up there too, though,
Yeah.
and that causes a rise in prices of tickets.
Yeah, but if people aren't flying, they're not making it. They're flying with empty planes. They'll
Yeah.
do something. So
Yeah.
hopefully something will work out.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we've been on for an hour now. Anybody got any questions? Last minute questions before we all go our merry ways and see what's happening in the world. I give a couple minutes for any questions. Oh, wait, here's one right here. Would I be able to rent a car and drive in Thailand, or do I need a Thai driver's license while on vacation? No, you can get a international driver's permit, and you're fine.
Yeah.
You don't need any
And they've
special
got
license.
Hertz and Avis and all those.
Yeah,
over
you don't
here.
need any special license. I rent cars all the time here, and I have a New York license.
Yeah, you won't have any problem renting one.
Yeah.
But what if you get stopped or something like that? They'll want you to have an international.
I got stopped once. They barely looked at it.
Really? Oh.
Yeah.
Up here, they don't.
I've never had trouble. I rent cars pretty frequently here, and the checkpoints up. They got dozens of checkpoints up north where you are.
Yeah, all the time.
I've never had trouble with them. So
Oh.
yeah, just rent a car. I think if you're here for under 90 days, it's legal to use your foreign license.
Yeah,
It's actually like that. It's like that in the U.S. too.
Yeah.
But they, for some reason, they want you to have an international driver's permit here. I don't know why. Especially up here in Chiang Mai, they catch them on the motorbikes around the moat. Constantly give them tickets if they don't have an international permit, and they're not. It's not supposed to be like that, but that's how it is. But anyway, no more questions. We appreciate everybody coming in and talking to us today. And I don't know when we'll have another one, but it won't be that far off. I'll put it up. But anyway, appreciate everybody coming in and have a great weekend.
See ya.
There we go.